Begin by safely raising and supporting your vehicle, as well as removing the rear wheels. Please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with those tasks if needed. Before you begin anything else, spray the two locating screws with some penetrating oil, especially if you live in a four-season climate. Allow them to soak and then break them free, but do not remove them. Next, remove the brake pad wear sensor from the connector on the top of the wheel carrier indicated by the green arrow. Follow the wire towards the caliper, removing it from the bleeder nipple. Next, you're going to remove the retaining pin, green arrow, using a small set of pliers. Use a punch and a small hammer and tap out the retaining pin towards the inboard side of the caliper, red arrow. Use care as the retaining clip can be under pressure, green arrow. Pull the retaining clip out. Use your hands or pliers and remove the old wear sensors. If your wear sensor has activated, you cannot reuse them. There is a sensor on the inboard and outer pad on the front calipers, green arrows. If you are not replacing your pads while installing new rotors, you can skip this step. Use a brake pad spreader and compress the pads outwards, pushing the pistons back into the caliper. If you are replacing pads or need them completely removed for work on the caliper, please follow our link at the end of this video for an article and video on how to replace your brake pads. If you're not replacing them, you just need to compress them enough so that they can clear the lip of the rotor. You are going to be pushing the pistons back into the calipers. This will cause brake fluid in the system to move back up into the reservoir. Open the front trunk and remove the access panel for the brake fluid reservoir, red arrow. Make sure there is room in the reservoir for the fluid and remove some as needed. If you are hanging the caliper out of the way, you will need to remove the 10mm bolt holding the brake line bracket to the wheel carrier, green arrow. If you are removing the caliper to work on it, you will need to separate the flexible to hard line at the caliper, green arrow. Please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with that task. Whether you remove the pads or just compress them back enough to clear the rotors, you can now use a 10mm Allen and remove the two caliper mounting bolts indicated by blue arrows. The mounting hardware is single-use only and must be replaced. The caliper is now free of the rotor. If you disconnected the brake line, you can take it to your bench. If you are leaving it connected to the line, you must support the weight of the caliper with a rope or hanger. Never let the caliper hang by the brake line. Installation of the caliper is the reverse of removal. Torque the caliper bolts to 85 Newton meters or 63 foot-pounds. Torque all bracket mounting hardware to 10 Newton meters or 7.5 foot-pounds. You can now remove the two locating screws holding the rotor to the flange. There is a good chance these small screws will strip when you try and remove them, as one did on ours, red arrows. If this happens, you can drill out the head of the screw and then try and remove it with pliers or an easy out. I used a left-hand drill bit, which made quick work of it. Once you remove the screws, use care as the rotor is now free. The rotors are extremely heavy and you do not want to drop it. Depending on the age of the rotor and where you live, you might need to tap the bell of the rotor or use a screwdriver in the cooling slots on the edge to break the rotor free. With the rotor removed, make sure to clean the flange, red arrow, to give you a clean and flat mounting surface. I like to put a small amount of anti-seize on this area. A left-handed drill bit made quick work of the locating screw. Installation is the reverse of removal. New pads and rotors need to be bedded in. Please make sure to bed in your pads and/or rotor according to the instructions from the manufacturer of the parts you purchased. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.